Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Waffles RC. We are going to be continuing on the mud truck. And this time I was prepared, so I actually have parts and materials. So we are going to hopefully, I'll find out as I edit this or throughout the day, hopefully in this video it will drive. That's the goal. So we'll see what happens. So you guys are watching this video on a Friday, which I will be currently at the expo for the Zach Lift at the Zach Lift booth. So you will get video of the next video that comes out will be of that thing in the expo doing whatever I am allowed to do. We'll find out. Then also I'm going to find some place to play in the rocks out there in Vegas. But for now, let's just get straight to work on this mud truck and hopefully get it driving. But we got a ways to go. So first thing we are going to do is sway bars. That's one of the downfalls about the other truck is that it has no sway bars. And this one, I'm going to put sway bars on the front and the rear. So let's get started with that. And then we can move on to filling in some panels. And I actually do have a motor for it. So that's why I think we will be able to get it driving. But let's do sway bars first. Here are the tabs for the rear sway bar, just right there. And I had to get creative with the front because somebody put inner fender wells and it's kind of in the way. So right in here, I welded in some tabs in between the frame and the bars, and the sway bar will go right through the holes of both of them. So let me somehow magically make sway bars work on this thing. So for the sway bars, I'm just running this universal sway bar kit that you can get on Amazon. And a lot of people have asked about links to all the parts for these things. I normally don't like to put links in the description unless I've tested it and I know for sure that it works, but I know that these work and I know that these axles work. So what I will do is I will put links to the parts that I know that works: wheels, tires, axles, transfer case, transmission. I'll do all that. And that'll be down in the description. So if you want, there'll be links to Amazon. You can go there. It doesn't cost you anything, but the channel does get a little kickback from it. It's just the associates program through Amazon. So now I'm going to put sway bars on. And I will say this, when you're mocking up these sway bars, make sure you leave enough room for these little plastic pieces because that keeps them from walking back and forth. And I have made that mistake before. That just goes in just like that. Put that over there. That like so. Tighten these down temporarily. Not trying to go crazy. So there, sway bar does what sway bars do, just not spin around like that. So now I have to make links for it to go down to the axle. But I noticed if it would fit anywhere, the rear axle is not perfectly straight in here, which is going to throw off any measurements or design ideas that I have for this sway bar. So I'm going to center the axle up, get it closer, and then just make links. The sway bar kit does come with end links, which I will use. It also comes with all the hardware and everything you need, but these are the end links that they give you, and this isn't stock height, and it's not an axial rift. So these will not be getting used, and I will have to use just some longer links and make these work. So I'll be back in a second, and there will be sway bars on this thing. All right, some things came up. I had stuff to do, but we have a front sway bar and a rear sway bar. Doesn't go fully flat. Remember, when you're doing a sway bar, you don't want these two to line up because then it could flop or break or bend, or many things can happen. So there are the sway bars. As you can see, I took something out. That's because I need to have a place to mount the servo for our trailer hitch, because there wasn't quite enough room, and the sway bar now goes right here. So that kind of took away that space. And someone did mention in the comments about the trailer hitch, about being good of driving forward, that it's got the frame for it to stop with. And they brought up a very good point of you do have to stop sometimes or reverse. So I'm gonna have to figure that out, but for right now, I'm just going to do mount the servo and get some links on it to get it to fold up. So I do read the comments. I do hear what you guys are saying. So I will figure that out as the time progresses. So basically, the idea is going to be put a normal steering servo horn on the servo, but then have links going from that to somewhere mathematically with the hitch bar itself to be perfectly straight when all the way one way, and to be tucked all the way up when another way. Now, those of you mathematicians out there, I'm sure would be able to figure that out quite easily. I am not a mathematician, so I'll guess, and we'll see what happens. Who knows? This thing may have a lot of holes in it for looks. And certainly not for the fact that I kept drilling in the wrong hole and it didn't work out correctly. But we'll gloss over that. Let's make some tabs, mount this thing in here somewhere. Yeah, something like that, I'm guessing. Yep. Be right back. Okay, here is the trailer hitch, and here is not the trailer hitch. Got it on the servo, goes up and down, just how I want. And from the upper perspective, this is all it is. Just goes up, goes down. So the reason why I did the 2 bars is because I did just one and it kept pushing it over and it was at a weird angle, and well, I just didn't like it. So that's why I ran the spacer here, ran 2 bars, and it does exactly what I want it to do. Now there will be programming involved with endpoints, speed, everything like that. But I still haven't quite figured out the whole keeping it from going back. I'm hoping that the servo is strong enough. And if it's not, well, then we have problems, honestly. I'm going to think on it for a little while. So now what I'm going to do is just a time lapse to finish out the evening of putting metal plates back on here and try to get the steps mounted. So once I get these plates on here, get it mostly covered up like I want it, then I can start moving to the fun stuff, like the motor. I am going to make a cover for that, but I want to make it removable so that I can, service it. That's my whole goal, is to always be able to service things. So I need to be able to protect it and to be able to take it off. That's going to be the trick. But let's hop on a time lapse and just get the center section all finished out. wear this shirt ironically from the last time that I caught fire. And you can pause it to read it yourself if you want. But on that basis, you can make an assumption on what may have happened. Be safer than me. Anyhow, got all the plates in. Got everything where I wanted them. Cut the hole out for the drive shaft. I'm actually quite happy with it. I got it close, but not too close. Did make it a little bit too big, but better safe than sorry, honestly. Now I know you saw in the time lapse and that I've said multiple times that I can't read a tape measure. The reality is that I can use a tape measure, I just don't use it correctly. I know how to use it, I just don't know what each one of these lines are. Now, I know there's going to be people in the comments that are going to tell me what each individual line actually represents, and I have a basic idea, but 2.5 and 2 lines works for me. So whatever works for you, do it. So now it's the end of the evening and I am going to go inside. Tomorrow we will put the motor in, make the protective cover for that as well so that doesn't get covered in stuff. And then hopefully we will drive this thing tomorrow, get it fired up and see what falls apart. That'll be about par for the course of my experience of building these things, but nothing's Loctited, nothing's greased. I just want a proof of concept that everything works. So I will see you guys in the morning. Good morning. Welcome back. We are going to get onto the motor. So the other mud truck runs a Spectrum. Once again, I like the Spectrums, but I decided to try something different. I went with the Hobbywing 3652 motor, and then the 10BL120 G2 Hobbywing Quick Run ESC. It came as a combo and it was about $50 cheaper. So I'm going to give it a shot, see if it works. So let's get a pinion gear on this thing, get it mounted to our transmission magically. Yeah, I think I left enough room to actually work in there. And then we will make the front cover plate for it, try to make it removable, and then we'll move on from there. Okay, here is the motor mounted up. One thing I did notice is the leads coming from the motor have to go into the ESC, which means the ESC has to be about right there, which means it's going to be dangerously close to a drive shaft that is most likely prone to breaking. So along with making the cover for the motor itself, I'm also going to make a removable protective cover for this drive shaft, because if this is going to be anything like that one, it's going to break. So we will protect our ESC by putting a cover over that, so when it does break, and the key word there was when it does break, it'll just hit a metal cover rather than our expensive ESC. So I will be back in a little bit once I figure out how to make a removable cover for the front. So I'll bring you back once I figure all that out. Here is our drive shaft cover, tunnel cover, whatever. And then we have basically the skid plate or protective cover for the motor, which is removable, I am happy to say. So it's got 3 bolts, 1 there, 2 back here. Take that out, now you have access to everything. So now it's time for the fun part. I'm gonna put the steering servo on it, get all the electronics mounted, turn it on, and see what happens. See if it moves, see if it doesn't. I'm sure it'll move, but I have to get the steering servo on the axle. That's where this one mounts. So I'll get that on there and I'll bring you back once I turn it on. Just not turn it on for the first time, but you get what I'm saying. there you go. It runs and drives.
Yay!
My captive audience agrees. So like I said, everything is just purely temporary right now, and nothing's doing anything. Nothing's greased, nothing's Loctited, which is why I didn't give it full throttle. But it all works, including the trailer hitch. So that is going to be a wrap on this thing for this weekend.
That's my celebration for you.
Once again, I work on the little trucks. She gets to work on the big one. Alright guys, that is the new mud truck at its mostly stopping point right now. Everything works. I need to take everything apart, grease it, Loctite it, all that fun stuff. And then I have to paint it. So that's the question I pose to you guys. What color should I paint the frame? Obviously, the body is painted. I was leaning towards like a bright green, but not a neon green, and not a dull green like that. Or, strangely enough, bright fluorescent pink. Because why not? You don't see many of them. But if you have any other color options out there, let me know. Anything but yellow. I do not like yellow. So no yellow, please. Please no yellow. But leave it down in the comments. Let me know what you guys think would look good with this dark gray body. Because according to my wife, I have the color palette of a 6-pack or 12-pack Crayola box. So just let me know some colors, and it has to be able to get done in spray paint because, well, that's all I have. So next week you will see a video from the Tow Truck Expo and me taking a few of these things with me as well. And then after that, we'll get back on to painting and finishing this thing off. If you'd like some merch, we have merch. The link will be down in the description or right here. If you'd like to get some merch, it'd be greatly appreciated. All of it goes towards funding my habit of building these and to help support the channel and keeps the builds coming. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And we will see you next week.